Hello again, welcome back. I'm here live again for I was about to say for the umpteenth time, but it's a bit more than that. How are we all doing? It's still annoyingly warm and muggy here in wonderful UK. As we all moan about the weather too much, don't we? Yes. Hello there, Wasteland, Proserpina, and Alex as well. Welcome to the stream, all nice and early. It's a bit weird having so many people here so early. It's numbers have been growing very, very slowly on my channel for quite a while, so that's a bit of a novelty. Never know, I may start with like a couple of hundred people viewing at some point. I doubt it, but you never know. Anyway, I hope we're all doing well and things aren't too horrible in your part of the world. Anyone who's new here, in case some people discover, where am I going with that? Oh, I never quite know how to start these things. I just fumble through it. I keep saying I should write a script, but I never get around to doing that either. But anyway, going through the just regular things, I'm late to the beard party for anyone who is not aware. Mostly play older games. There's some, well, I'll say newer games. I'm always going to get late to games because I never buy them straight away. I just don't like the state games come out in. In fact, the last 5 years, there's only 2 games I've picked up straight away: Stray and Elden Ring. Yeah, all other games I've waited. Yeah, there are loads of games out right now that have come out in recent years I would love to get. But I just... Okay, camera was a bit blurry there. I have no idea how long it was blurry before. Maybe it's me waving my hand in front of it, just threw it out. And I'm actually going to open the window just briefly because it is extremely humid in here. So I will be back in a moment. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I'm quite literally sweating here. I think I did that last week. Just the humidity at the moment is just crazy. I mean, the temperature doesn't get like high in like some countries. I mean, I've seen some places get into like the 50s at the moment. But here, I mean, we're getting to like the 20s maybe, but it's the humidity that's just killing us, and wearing black doesn't help either. But yeah, carrying on with the introduction, I've got a YouTube linked down below, along with a whole lot of playlists where I put all of my old VODs and videos and various things that I've uploaded on there. Not just from Twitch, I've also got my Discord as well, if you would like to join us during the week there. That's linked below. Hopefully the link is still working. If it's not, comment below, either in I'll comment in the chat if it's not working, or if you're watching on YouTube, comment down there to let me know. It should be working. It's an unlimited one unless I cancel it. But yeah, there's also my book if you would like to have something to read. Not a book for young readers, just as a warning, not in the slightest. But yeah, on to this week's stream. Now, last week I was playing Dino Crisis, and I was getting towards 10 o'clock, and I was thinking, you know what, I might want to leave it until the following week. But yeah, it was mentioned in chat that I was very close to the end, so pushed through and got to the end of the game. Saw one of the 3 endings. It was a bit of a slog to get through for me personally, because it was a bit of an awkward game. I can see why people love it though. And I can see why people want to see a remake. I'd like to see a remake to see how they change things up and modernise it. Hopefully modernise it in a good way as well. Kind of like how they did with Resident Evil 2 and 4. Not so much 3. Although I'm yet to play those. I've seen enough of them to know what they've done. It's just experiencing them for myself at some point. But yeah, still would love to see a remake of Code Veronica. That's probably one of the ones that's had the least support as far as Capcom are concerned, but they'll get around to it at some point. But yes, this week has been a bit of an interesting one for what game I'm going to play tonight, because I quite literally decided 20 minutes ago, about 20 minutes ago, literally just a couple of minutes before I hit the go live button, what game I was going to play, because I wasn't sure. I've got loads to pick from. Yeah, PC games, console games, loads of emulators, but I just wasn't sure what I wanted to play. There's loads I've got in my my list of games I want to get to, and there's a few that I'd like to do over Halloween as well. I've got a couple of horror games I'd like to do over October, and I don't want to get into something that's going to take me all the way through. So this game isn't going to take me to October. not in the slightest, even if I tried to do everything on it. But it's one that will tie me over for a while. And it's a game that I've actually been lucky enough to own a copy for about 20 years, because it was about 20 years ago I picked it up. And it's a game that a lot of people know about, they've heard about it, and they've seen the stupid prices that people are asking for. And Proserpina, I think you know which game I'm talking about. So, without delaying any further, let's switch over so I can show you which game I'm going to be playing. Yes, this is a bit loud, I think. Just a moment. Where's my mouse gone? Help if I get the right button to pause it. Yeah, this is a game that has a bit of a legend behind it. It's one of the most sought after games for the Saturn. I picked up my copy in 2003, and literally just as I was going live, I realised that is 20 years ago. I can't remember when in the year I picked it up, but I was extremely lucky because I only paid £35 for it. That's British pounds. Now you'd be expected to pay over £1,000 for a copy, which is disgusting. And it's a fantastic game. I love this game, but it is absolutely not worth that. If it was £100, then I'd say, yeah, it's a rare game, definitely worth that kind of price, but £1,000? Fuck no. No. Snatcher is another game that has a similar price, and I did play that last year, and that's a great game as well. And I'd say if you can get hold of a copy without paying that kind of ridiculous price, do so, because both of them are fantastic games. Now, one thing I've also realised while we were playing the intro is this game came out in 1998. That's 25 years ago. So this year we're seeing the 25th anniversary of this game, and so far Sega hasn't really done anything. Unfortunately, the remake of the first Panzer Dragoon didn't do well enough to really justify anything. They said that they were working on the second game, but there's been dead silence ever since the remake came out. So unfortunately, I don't see there being a remake of this coming anytime soon. It's also annoying that Sega won't re-release it. There's a Saturn emulator on Switch. They used it when they released the two Conton games for the Saturn 2 shooter games, which are not hugely known outside of Japan. I mean, if you're a fan of shooter games, you probably do know about them. But for Saturn fans, this is the game that people want. They have a Saturn emulator. They could release this game on Switch, and I'm pretty certain it would sell really well. It would completely destroy the second-hand market for it, because the people who want to play the game will be able to get it for Switch and find out just how, I'm not going to say good this game is, because it was fantastic when it came out, despite the flaws. The game was released unfinished, and for a game in '98, that is almost unheard of. They, I think, were originally looking for an early 1999 release because of what they wanted to do with the game, but they were in a situation where it was either rush the game to get it out a year earlier than that, or don't ever release it. And there were certain things that they had to change. One of the biggest changes was with the pre-animated cutscenes, or the pre-rendered cutscenes. The first one, right at the beginning of the game, looks fantastic for the time, but then they take a very dramatic drop in picture quality and the render quality. The character models, as you get towards the end of the game, it looks like they were using in-game character models for the cutscenes. They also dropped the language, because they created a language called Panzer for the first two games, and they use it in the intro and also the epilogue at the very end. But for the rest of the game, it's entirely in Japanese. And the reason for that was because the length of time it took them to get the actors to be able to pronounce the lines correctly in the language was taking far too long. And for a game that had a lot of dialogue, that's a tricky thing to do. So in order to cut the time down to get the voice acting done in as fast as possible, they just did it in Japanese, which is weird for the Japanese people, because the game starts off in a language that they don't understand and then switches to a language they do understand. Now, for me, back in the day, I did not know this. Yeah. And there are a lot of elements of the game that are a bit broken. The PAL version is broken. There are several cutscenes that just don't play. This is the US version I'm running here, because this one, they didn't have to do any conversions to get it running in NTSC, because that's how it was in Japan. It just has the English translation. But one of the... there's so much about this game I love. The music is fantastic. The concept of the world and the characters. I'm bigging it up now. There's probably going to be loads of people really disappointed, because it's not a perfect game. It's kind of one of those flawed gems. There's so many things wrong with it that modern people who've never heard of it would look at it and go, what's this piece of crap? And they'd look at all the things wrong with it and just not understand why people love it. This was a game I had wanted. I knew when it came out, and I saw it on the shelves and I wanted to get a copy, but I didn't back in the day, back when it was released. Partly because it was so much money. I think it was like £70 originally, because it came on 4 discs and it needed a bigger box to package it. But yes. Yeah, it's been a couple of years since I last played it, because I played it on original hardware for my wife a couple of years ago. I think it was actually through COVID we did that. And yeah, she loves this game as well, for different reasons coming a bit later. But yeah, let's get into the beginning of the game and just enjoy that music. I don't know, is that too loud? It feels like that might be a little bit too loud. Let's just drop that a little bit and take it down ever so slightly for myself. But yeah, I love the music for this game. I've got a copy of the album as well. Let's turn it a little bit more. I don't want the game drowning me out. I also don't want it so quiet you guys can't hear it. But yeah, I got a copy of the album for this as well, and that cost me more than the game. But then again, it was a lot later. So yes, in Japan this is known as Azel Panzer Dragoon RPG, which you can kind of see why they changed the name for the Western market, but Panzer Dragoon Saga is still a fantastic title. Yes. Okay.
Guido, Edge.
Nihil. Den Srentia. Although some sick all.
Meliust prelidis, expedul.
Tunes cognitum lua. Quid nostra defensio.
Di.
Possetu cognitum.
Za envetus. Enaivo and purgus. Devon est peltina and penier.
Devonum est lutema.
Es. De peltina impenier. Tues nostem praestem. Noster defensio. Hec. Exceller impelnier. Te omnio aude gescalde.
Ominous.
Peril! Felgus misentes!
Hostis? Liquor?
栄華を誇った文明が滅んで数千年。かつての力を失った人類は自らが生み出した遺伝子改造による生物兵器に脅かされつつ黄昏の時代を過ごしている。だが失われた文明の力を借りた帝国が出現した時から再び時代は回り始めた。帝国の手によって発掘された9世紀の兵器は人類の生存を脅かす多数の巨大生物を撃退し、再び我らの時代が来たと人々を歓喜させた。しかし力は欲望を生み、欲望は戦乱を生む。帝国と同じく9世紀の力を手に入れた周辺国家との戦争は深刻化の一途をたどった。自らの優勢を保つため帝国は9世紀の遺跡の発掘を強引に進める一方で、帝都に大規模な研究機関を設け、わずかずつではあるが古の時代の謎に迫ろうとしていた。
I believe that narration there was actually in Japanese and was intended to be. They could have done that in English for the English version, but they just didn't have time.
Prosit seda, Devon. Arbo. The trader important. Owen. Pause the tema rebel prosit sedo.
Municats! Muheoles macro matio. Yaxil.
Gada Awe. En metos de Yena, Delca. Kats, Venia Deni. Kunipas. Action Velux.
Spot the obvious villain. You silly boy. I love the creature design as well. Maybe. Just pull the fucking trigger.
Now they can kill! Festina Exia! Exia!
I don't know if they used any mocap for this. I have a feeling they didn't. Spot the worst villain.
Impenia? Sos! Nostra sos! Sos! Praia esque!
So stop. De Pertina Langis. Laos de Porus Resta.
De nostra! Tana! Abo!
Tunges?
Laos es bebe!
Young Dennis Clayman. Les Frota Festina. Ushe Centuria Venire.
Hmm. What does he think he can do? Okay, props to the actor who did that laughing, because that's good. Good villain laughing.
Prosit Trasiva Imperi. Transia Postaris.
The intro's still not done. I don't think there's an Imperial capital anymore.
Icurium dera miliarium pars. Ie integrum medium civitas. Learteo univer, hu ringu sabta ricia. Lausving potentia fons. Prestum important.
Pialitus e crimen, nole motarsem impenia. Des Diolangius impenia banais, dicia Dev ergaterium. Impenia lizur winter, terium diu atracta.
Ah yes, the towers. I'll mention those in a minute.
Faniva crimen, norgescer de bagnara praia terium. Seduva escaternaus gorigum origum.
Which is the ship he was flying in. Right, now I think I can pause it here. This will be a... There we go. Yes, the... yes, Grig Orig, or the Grig Orig, as I think they pronounce it in Japanese. Yeah, the towers are an integral part of the history of Panzer Dragoon. The story goes that the ancient civilization built the towers for some means, and getting the brig on the Grigoric, yeah. Yeah, nobody knows what the towers were for, but what they know is the towers basically scorched I think it was the phrase was scorched 7 continents in one night. And that caused the downfall of the utopian civilization. The setting for these games is post-apocalyptic, a bit like Horizon Zero Dawn. The apocalypse happened such a long time ago that it's gone into legend and myth. What really happened, nobody knows. And even the relics of what was left behind only have snippets of information. There are creatures all over the land. That creature with the flippy arm claw things, that's an ancient being, and they were rumoured to have been created by the utopian civilization. For what purpose? Nobody knows. What they do know is creatures like that roam the world, and people have to survive. Some of them are even bigger than that. But there's one particular legend, and that is that the towers have creatures that are, well, they refer to them as dragons, and the dragons were the pinnacle of the utopian technology. The only thing that can challenge a dragon is another dragon, and the Empire has wanted a dragon just for their own purposes so that they can rule the world. It's typical Empire, aren't they? In the first Panzer Dragoon, you play a guy named Kyle or Kale, and he sees a dragon rider die after fighting another dragon rider, and is tasked with going after I think the Black Dragon is what he's called, to basically stop him from getting to the tower. And once you defeat that one, the dragon thanks Kyle or Kale and then goes into the tower itself whilst leaving him elsewhere, and you don't really see what happens. In the second one, which is more of a prequel, I think, that has very heavy story. It's been quite a while since I played through it, and that one kind of links in with all kinds of details and stuff. As we see the links in this one, I'll mention them. So I can't remember how many times I played through Panzer Dragoon's Y, because I saw every ending. The only thing I wasn't able to do was beat it on the hardest difficulty. But I saw every variation of the endings, which were surprisingly tricky to get on occasion, because it depended on how you play the game and how much you were able to evolve the dragon throughout the story. But yes, let's carry on with this one. So the one who controls Edge, or Edge as they pronounced it earlier, what is your name? So let's just go with... Actually, I wonder if it'll fit. I think it will. Yeah, you know exactly what I'm doing. Yeah. So, Beard Party. No, it is not my real name, but it is the name I'm going to be using here. Just notice the picture doesn't go right the way to the side on the stream. Oh well, very few of these games are completely full screen anyway for the Saturn, so no problem. Yes, so we saw that orange swirly stuff, and the light came together and produced this little light that's floating its way down. And we are a long way down. Very long way down. Yes, so plucked the bullet out of him, I'm guessing. Or bullets, I don't know how many he shot. And I think it's at this point that the game switches to having everything in Japanese. So, still English subtitles throughout, though.
生きてる。
Character model's nowhere near as detailed either, unfortunately.
助かったのか。早く上に戻らないと隊長たちが。
So yeah, in order to be able to render all of these cutscenes in the time frame they needed to get the game done in less than their original time scale, they really had to rein back the visual quality. The in-game stuff, though, I don't think they had to rein back anything at all. But yes, this is one of what button was it? There we go. So I've got one of the buttons can change the height of the camera, which is, I don't know why they did the low one, because it's only really here that having the camera low is useful. But I mean, back when this came out, this looked incredible for the Saturn. And this area itself, I don't think this pushes the Saturn that far, as far as capabilities are concerned. But the Saturn's 3D capabilities were quite limited. But I believe we can look at that up there. A finely crafted engraving of a dragon. Oh, I forgot they auto-scroll through. Yes, we've got these things here, which, if I remember correctly, are... Yep. Those contain items, and I can't remember... Nothing else inside. Okay, so I should pick up everything on the first time I interact with them. Handgun. Ancient gun with a dragon design. It's down there. An elevator key. Okay. So, this, if I remember correctly, is the elevator. So yeah, this is one area you can never return to in the game. You play through this bit at the beginning and then never again. The lock is out of reach. Okay. So, I believe that used the key. Now, do that one. And ride the elevator. That's quite an elevator. Not ominous in the slightest. I think you might even be able to see the silhouette in the stream as well. You might be able to figure out what that is. We'll find out soon enough. Yes, that thing we saw higher up, the thing that they had a lot of trouble with, there's just a few of them. That's the handgun he picked up. I love the fact they're still putting that look of worry on his face. Yeah, doesn't look good, does it? Just like that. Yes. Having a hell of a day. So yeah, they had all that trouble with one of them, and this thing just wiped out a whole bunch just like that. And look what it is. Ooh, something portentous is happening. Visions of the past and future. Some of those clips actually came from the first 2 games as well. And from further on in this one. Unfortunately, I don't think we ever got to see the full resolution version of the dragon, because I don't think there are any cutscenes that were full detail where the dragon was visible. And even though you can see the positioning of Edge on the dragon's neck is slightly off, I think it's moved into place there. It's a bit difficult to see on the low resolution, but yes, Edge now has his own friend dragon. I wouldn't call the dragon a pet. Yeah, so, whereas most RPGs have like this big cast of loads of characters, this game, for the vast majority of it, it's just Edge and the dragon. It's a very desolate world, very lonely. And this is where the game really starts to show how visually impressive it is. Because I believe this is actually running at 60 FPS. This is not 30, I don't believe it is. It could actually be 30, I'm not 100% certain. When there's only one way of playing the game, it's a bit tricky to see, but I'll be able to find it when I edit it. But I always loved this area because I love the fact that off in the distance you can see there's the further on mountains and the way they're hiding the pop-in. You can clearly see it if you pay attention, but it's just a subtle way of hiding it that's not too obvious. But I've got a long distance blast that can destroy those, pick up items. Now, one thing I want to do, that's the map. Go to the settings, because light. Just reverse the up and down in flight, because that means pressing down goes up and pressing up goes down. Right. I'll check to see if there's anything hidden back here. I know there's a piece of map that I can get that I've unlocked there, because when you finish the game it actually gives you a percentage of how much of the map you've uncovered, and getting 100% is really hard because the amount of hidden corners and things that can easily be missed is quite something. Now I believe I can actually destroy these if I hit them enough times. And some of them actually have stuff in them as well, which can be useful. There we go. Oh yes, items. Stellarium, element used as a source of energy, shell plate. Shell plating used as armour for military weapons, and I think most of these things are just sellable. Items that can be sold, items that cannot be sold. So, Soldier's Guide, Handgun, Elevator Key, and Impenia Coin, currency used by the Empire, which is, I believe, kind of useless throughout most of the game, but let's have a quick read of the guide. Oh, God, there's quite a few sections to this. Yeah, do we want to read through it? There'll be a lot of reading, especially with the music in the background. But yeah, there's loads of backstory things as well. Customized weapon, when I get attachments for the weapon to make it more powerful, and also the Dragon's Berserks, which are basically the magics, or the magic system in the game. Because in Panzer Dragoons Y, they introduced the Berserk system, so as you powered up with firing the normal weapons, the Dragoon could unleash a Berserk, which basically just constantly fired out loads of blasts from its mouth, and at certain times that could be incredibly useful. And for this one they expanded it massively. I'm just going to turn this down ever so slightly for myself. Yeah, I haven't got this quite as low as I had for the Mega Drive emulator, but that's the map. It's still quite low. I think I've got it down to 6 at the moment. So this is the view of the Dragon, which you can't really do anything with at this point. I think when we get towards the end of Disc 1, or is it 2/3 of the way through Disc 1, this unlocks to add extra stuff. And as I say, there's the map as well. So let's make our way further on. Right. I'm going to destroy all of these. Just keep hitting them and they should... Yep, a Dini's chip. Doesn't have anything. Oh. That is the field map. So that gives us the whole map of the area and shows us what parts we need to unlock. Okay. So I'm going to go around both ways because there's stuff to find on both sides. Yeah, this is a good view of the the depth hiding trick that they used here. And some people like to run this at higher resolutions, but I kind of like the old style low res view. It's kind of how the game was intended anyway. Gemstone, so another thing that's worth a little bit of money. I think this leads us... oh, not quite. See what we get from this one. Oh, there's too many of them to target. See if we can stick on that one. Oh, nothing there. It's only just in view. One more, currently. Ooh, a Gibson lens. I keep hitting the wrong button for the menu. Dini's chip. Ancient currency, no monetary value, but can be exchanged for some money. So it kind of does have a monetary value. Gibson lens. Optical sensor for long-range torpedo weapon. So the variety of junk you can pick up in this game is surprising for a game of this age. And another one of these. Another Dini's chip. I think this is the only area where these baskets are that you can destroy, so this isn't going to be something I do throughout the whole game. Another shell plate. Okay, take these ones out. There is a point where you can come back to this area. Igara. Various types of rocks found near excavation sites. Well, we were at an excavation site right at the very beginning. Okay, that one didn't have anything either. Okay, right, now I think this is where we can come back. So let's head back this way. I'll sort out the other baskets when I come around, because there's a hidden little secret here, one that if you don't pay attention you can miss out on. So I'm just going to break that. Another Dini's chip. I'm going to uncover the the map down here, because otherwise it's annoying trying to get back down here. Some of these bits of music I can just play on loop for hours. It's such an unusual album, very tribal in its style. I just noticed there's two, I think a couple on the side there that I'll need to get. Not that fast, to be honest, about getting 100% of the maps. So, let's head up and unlock this little secret I mentioned. Now, it's not mandatory to get this, but it's something that's worth getting if you can. Although there's nothing to target here, where is it? One of these, unless I scared it off. There, I think. Oh, I scared off the bird, I think. Unless... Well, that's annoying. I didn't think that would happen. So I'm going to have to reload this area. Okay. Well, I'll unlock a few other things, because there's a save point further up that I can use. Or it's something I can come back for at a later point, I just need to remember it. So let's start clearing the last of these. One in the middle, please. Nando drill. Not to be mistaken for Nando's. Something else entirely. I do remember reading part of an interview with one of the people, Coolier's done. An interview with one of the people who worked on the game. Coolier's done fossilised Coolier theses from millions of years ago. Delightful. And they said that they spent a lot of time just figuring out how far they can take the graphics in practically every single scene. And they said if you tried doing it with modern systems at the time, I think the Dreamcast was the most powerful system out at the time when they said this, it was like you'd never finish the game. It was only possible to do that in the age of the Saturn and PlayStation, and it shows because there are no other games that look as good as Panzer Dragoon Saga does, aside from Panzer Dragoon Y, perhaps. Now, this, I believe, is the save. Ancient device, save record. And I think, yes, this is one of the few games that allowed you to save directly through the external RAM cartridge. Although, because I'm running on the emulator, every single game has its own separate internal memory. They did that to make sure you never run out of space. It does make it a little awkward when you've got multi-disc games. You've got to set them up to be able to swap discs over, but once you have set it up, it's wonderful. As the menu option shows there, you can swap discs out quite easily. So, let's save there. And let's just hit reset, because I'm going to load up the save to load the area so I can go find that little secret. Just going to skip all the intros. And it defaults to continue as well when it detects there are save games. Sound cut off slightly there. Above the excavation. Okay. Oh, it's respawned all the... yeah, it respawned all the baskets. I don't know what those baskets are doing there, thinking about it. Right, so if I'm correct, there should be something I can target. a little confused. I should be able to target one of those. Should be able to target one of these birds. Where is the one I'm supposed to be able to target? Okay, something's not right here. I should be able to target one of these. I'm going to have to look that up and double check. Unless I've got to scare off. I don't recall having to scare off all of them before. That's strange. Yeah, I'll have to look that up and come back here at a later time. I might do that during my break later. But yeah, I've picked up all the items that I can at the moment. Oh, crashing into things. So time to move on to the next area. Haven't even got into the game proper yet. But I did say I'm going to take my time with this one. Ah, back to the excavation. This is where everything went down. Yes, lots of flapping. This is where everything took place. Entrance to the ruins. Data storage capsule. Old container. I forgot to show the running animation. Quite cute. There's my dragon. Looks like he's waiting for me. I love the fact he's referring to him as my dragon. An object for the ancient age. It's a battleship's engine. Yeah, one thing that I always liked about the battleship designs is the fact that you've got these massive, almost like balloons that look kind of like the sails for ships. And the actual ships underneath are like the old sailing ships. Oh, Edge is getting impatient very quickly. Very unusual design for things. And the whole series has an unusual design. I remember hearing about the French artist Mobius. That he was a huge inspiration for some of the creature designs, and they got a little bit cheeky because when they were making the first game, they actually sent some of their designs to him, and he sent back his alterations. Basically fan art, and he was giving his own interpretation, and they used his versions but then didn't credit him, and they got into a bit of trouble for that. I think in later years they did credit him, but yeah, it's a bit naughty that. What have we got here? Another relic from the ancient age, and I know what's going to happen here because I examined that, and the captain.
生きてたのか。 よく無事で。
隊長、
早く行け。奴らは谷に沿って北へ向かってる。あの男、クレイメンたちを追え、本物の帝国軍が来る前に。
クレイメン？誰なんです、そいつは。それになんで追わなきゃならないんです？
帝国の特務部隊、黒い艦隊を率いる男の話を聞いたことがある。おそらくは奴が。ここを見れば帝国は俺たちを疑う。あの発掘物を奪回する以外、お前の生き延びる方法はない。胸のポケット。そうだ。
隊長、これは。
I believe it's a map.
隊長？隊長？
I think there was supposed to be a more anguished cry there, but they didn't quite get everything matched up. But hats off to the actor for the grief there. It's not bad. Given the strict time frame they had to do everything in. Right, so I believe that was a map he gave us. So now at this point we have this mass tutorial. One of the worst tutorials ever because it just runs through everything all in one go. Now this is a game I'm quite familiar with anyway, so I've already been through all of the tutorials. I think when I got the game originally, I actually had a copy of the demo version, which was literally just the whole of disc 1 but with the word demo printed on it, which meant it was fully compatible with the final game. And it was unique for Europe as well. I don't think they did that in the rest of the world. So I did get to play the first quarter of the game, long before I ever got to got the complete game about 3-4 years later. But yeah, I'm going to skip the tutorial, and I know there's something behind me here. Right, so I believe. I can go to the world map. And there's a little Easter egg here, because if you don't go to the world map at this point, you can never see this area. Because this is the first camp in the game, and a lot of the people who play it miss it entirely. Now, it's nothing really special, it's just this is the only part of the game where you can see this. The game even has a day-night cycle for certain areas, the camp being one. There's a town that you can only access at partway through disc 2, and there's also a caravan that you meet quite a few times that has a day-night cycle. A couple of areas have it as well. The lengths they had to go through to make that for this game back in the day was just insane. A lot more work than it'll be today. But okay. The Malcolm would burn well. So the dragon looks like it's curled up. Should I give him a name? Just call him Dragon. Oh, tickling my throat. They've gone through a lot of water this stream. I am going to give him a name, and there's a particular name I'm going to give him. And people who know these games will recognise this, because that is the name that Lundy gives his dragon in Panzer Dragoons Y. And I believe that it's supposed to be the same dragon as well. So yes. Still in a good mood. Yeah, this is, interestingly, is actually the one piece or one of two pieces of music that were missing off the album. There were two versions of the album. There was the original version and the Memorial Edition. And the Memorial Edition had a couple of extra tracks at the end, which were remixes of the credits track for this game, which wonderful piece. It's just a shame they didn't have time to do a better... I don't think it's going to let me because the dragon's already happy. Still in the same mood. Next time I camp, I will pet the dragon. Oh, the dragon's cheerful already. You don't need to pet the dragon when he's already cheerful. Or at least that's the game logic anyway. Yeah, but this piece of music is actually missing from the album. Interesting. There's another piece which is from disc 2, which is, I think, one of the reasons they left it out was because it was actually a piece from the Panzer Dragoon Y album as well. But it would have been nice to have it on there. But yeah, I do listen to that album every now and then because there are some fantastic tracks on there. Look at him wagging his tail. Right. Is there a... Oh yeah. So yeah, let's leave the camp. And I'm going to head back to above the excavation site again just because I want to try to get this thing. Where does it drop me? Right at the beginning again. Okay, so I'm going to head straight there. And see if I can do this because I want to unlock this. Ah, there we go. You can see them highlighted. Yeah, it's going to work this time. So you can access them and whee! What's going on? Flying through some of the terrain. Travelling at high speed, following these birds. Bouncing off everything. This is something that some people could easily miss if they just sped through the game. And there is something that is necessary for this, although it's not necessary to complete the game. So we go past where we started, and we should head towards an opening in the wall in a moment. Here we go. Yes, and we're now in a tunnel, which leads us through to a little hidden area with a couple of item boxes. And one of these contains something very unusual. So we have an ambrosia, which is a healing item, and in here we have a D unit. And if I come over here, there's an empty space in the top right hand corner of the screen. And if you think, in the top left hand corner of that empty space is a piece that wasn't there before. If I remember, when I do the VOD for this, I'm hoping I'll be able to do a split between what was viewed before and what's being seen here, so just to show the difference, because that is something that let's see if I can where is it? There it is. An organic substance. It appears to be part of something larger. There's a little puzzle, and you just need to acquire all the parts to it. So I'm done with this area now, so let's head back to the open world. And because I know my wife will get upset if I don't, I'm going to come back to the camp. Oh, wrong one. That's not the one I wanted to do. Whoops. I want to go to the camp. That's the one. Wasn't paying attention to what I was selecting there. oh, I haven't got the option to pet him. I can smile. Is he in a better mood now? He's still in the same mood. Sorry, the game wouldn't let me pet the dragon again. Okay, let's move on. At least he's happy, yes. And that actually has a game detail as well, actually. Because if you spend enough time petting the dragon and being nice to him, it unlocks something. Now let's see. Yep, that is the world map. And if you look, the clouds are a transparent layer. Now, there were arguments back in the day about whether the Saturn could do transparencies, and this was one of the games that proved that it could. Sonic R was another one that did transparencies as well. There was a Rainbow Road track hidden towards the end of the game that used that effect. But yeah, as you can see, it is transparent. There were limitations on the transparencies. There was only so much they could do with it. The architecture of the Saturn was a nightmare to work on, but the developers who produced amazing looking games really went to town with how they could make use of it. But yeah, let's move on to the valley, because that is the next area. And I think I'm going to get to the next save point and then have my midstream break. So to start off with, you're a piece of crap. Ah yeah, because this is the point where Edge would have been just leaving the excavation site after having seen his captain and his father figure die. So he's not in the best of states of mind. Destroy stuff, blow it all up. Elixir Miner, healing item. Okay. Yeah, lots of things to destroy. I don't know why they put all of that in, but this is an interesting map as well because it's got quite a few side bits and tunnels that you can go into that has hidden items like this one. Free action. That's a combat item if I remember correctly. So replenishes health by 200, so that's basically half my health at the moment. As I level up, that's going to become increasingly less useful. And ambrosia, that is a fantastic item. And the higher level you get, the better the item becomes. This isn't a particularly difficult game. You really do have to struggle to have a game over or die in the game. The combat is incredibly forgiving. I think I'm about to have my first battle as well. Nope, not quite yet. And it even has working trains going by. Let's destroy some more stuff. Because it's fun. I believe there's something through here as well. Now, unfortunately, the trains don't come through these tunnels, so you can watch them go through. You can even go through at the same time, but you don't actually see them come through the tunnel with you. Now, I'm actually going to go through this out this way because first battle. Patter goes. Okay. Semi-turn based. Okay, so the rating that you get is based on how well you do. I think for the fight I just did, you have to actually beat them in one round, which you need a level up for, or a couple of level ups. Some more healing items. As that just demoed, you can go through the openings at the same time as the train, but it doesn't appear in the tunnel. Limitations of the hardware at the time. Completely forgivable. Is there anything more down this way? Nope. Yeah, this one I think is even more important if I go back, because there are lots of items I can miss. Most of these items are going to be useful at some point. Oh, another battle. So these Patagos, or yep, Patagos, and this time I'm in the front arc. Oh, if I just move. Right. To give an explanation, if the game will allow me, bottom middle of the screen you've got a radar where because in the combat, you as a player move around the enemy, and the 4 different arcs show, you've got colours for them, and that will show how dangerous it is. Green means perfectly safe, you're not going to get hit. Clear means you will likely get hit, but it's not going to do a lot. Red means danger, so you want to try and stay in the green. However, with most enemies, their weak spots are only visible from the red zones. So, risk-reward thing. Now, for the combat, you've got to build up gauges. Some actions only require 1 gauge, some require 2, some require 3. And it's just a case of figuring out what the best way to take out things are. So I'm actually going to charge up a couple of... yeah, that thing regenerates, so I'm going to want to take that out quickly. So are they going to move around me at all? Nope. So I'm going to hold the action to make sure I get, as soon as they finish, I get straight into my action, and I'm going to shoot that guy. And shoot him again. Shoot these guys. Oh, took out one in one go. Yeah, at the moment these things are not that dangerous. Is that enough to level? Not quite. So hopefully next fight, let's see. Oh no, the orange bar on the left hand side with the word next to it, that's oh, that shows you how much progress you've got towards your next level. So I'll probably need about 2, maybe 3 more battles. A few more than I would like, but you can just grind. Ah, right. Can't destroy it. Luggy's lasers are too weak. We'll come back later. Yeah, that marker shows how many levels of laser that you need. And if you look where it says laser rank in the bottom of the screen, that shows you what your current laser rank is. Now, that shows 6, which is the full maximum, so you can only destroy those at end game, basically. But it's one of those things that I don't think you actually get much for doing it. Kind of pointlessly hurl that away. So let's access the map, I think that is. So we can see what we've got coming up ahead. Nando drill and Demis chip. So hopefully something sellable there. Oh, blast chip. Now that single detonation. Basically, it's a bomb you can use in combat. And one of the little shortcuts that they did was that is identical to one of the berserks that you can get. There's a more powerful version that has 2 blasts, and then there's an even more powerful one that has 3. Ah, more Patagos. And so hopefully I'll be able to do this one in fewer... Actually, I wonder. Haven't leveled up yet, but... Let's see. Oh, got rid of 2 of them. Nice. So that was 3 actions rather than 4, I think. And there's the excellent. So I think... Where is it? Ah yeah, data displayed on enemies. So there is an encyclopedia of monsters, and it tells you what your rating is. You can even move them around, zoom in and look at them in various detail. You can even get some more information about them as well. So that's attention to detail, which even modern games sometimes don't go into. So I know that there are some people who've done challenge runs to try and get excellent on everything, on every single enemy in the entire game, which means getting excellent on every single boss, because for boss fights you only get one opportunity, because there's no New Game Plus in this. There is a post-game thing, which is quite limited, unfortunately. There's not a lot to it. There's a bit, but... Ooh.
しまった。構成生物よけの風網か。
Yeah. So you can't get through this. Yeah. Need to shut off the wind. There must be a switch somewhere. No, there is a save point there, but I'm going to go and do the switch first, which is round this way. Most of what I'm picking up are things I think I can just sell at some point. That's quite the noise. So noisy here. Wonder what that device is for. Well, considering we just asked about a switch. Rumbling, it stopped. Is it because the device switched off? Right. Oh, there's an item box here. Danish chip, and also that as well. Gemstone. Again, something else that can be sold. Okay. But I'm just going to save here. I've got 49 minutes so far in basically about an hour and a half of stream. So, I'm just going to pause the emulator right there, because that silences it as well. And yes, for those on YouTube watching the VOD, that's going to be the end of the first half of the stream. The second half is going to be a separate video. Probably by the time you're watching it, the second one's going to be out, and chances are the whole series is going to be out as well. But for those of us who are currently on Twitch right now, just a minute, just setting up my holding screen, I'm going to be taking a quick break. I do this mainly because my day job, I'm sat down most of the time, and to do this, I'm sat down. So I don't think it's a good idea to be sitting down for too long, too often. Yeah, you can have problems if you do. It's one of the reasons why there are some streamers who stand up for their streams, because sitting for too long can be a real problem on your health. So yes, going to take a quick break, stand up for a short bit, and yes, we'll come back to this and get a bit further. I have a funny feeling I know where we're going to get to by the end of the stream in the next hour and a half. But in the meantime, for those of you who are currently watching, don't go anywhere.